We have sent it to the org where you are now, so that all the auditors there that are on HGC and staff have been grooved in on it, and the Class 8 case supervisor will be able to do this. In other words, everything up to 4 is tripled. It is actually many more times than tripled in effectiveness. Now, anybody who has a grade 4 or is a grade 4 release can, in actual fact, go back and get his triple grades. And this has all been explained. But it means that the lower grade releases and the sub-zero releases have been worked over now by me to a point where they have tremendously lasting results. And it is a great benefit in stable gains. And I have done this actually so that the lower grades will mean more and so that one can get everything out of them. And these should be, at this time, available in the org where you are hearing this tape. There's another item in which you'd be interested, is the fact that a Class 2 auditor can now assign his own conditions, and a Class 4 auditor is even further ethics protected. A Class 2 auditor now, who also has a staff status too, can apply for and obtain in his own qual division a blue star rating, which permits him to assign his own ethics conditions. The Class 4 can assign his own conditions, and he has additional protections, and he is a green star, and a Class 8 can be COMET only, and he is assigned a gold star. These are ethics protection actions given to persons who are upstat. We consider that anyone who is trained as an auditor is an upstat. Now, there's something I've been meaning to point out to you about Scientology that's not been mentioned in some years, and it needs to be mentioned because of the exactness of Class 8 and the stress on compliance with the exact processes. I don't think Class 8 was well understood. The message was not one that one had to comply. It was that when one used these exact processes in this exact way, he got 100% tech on all of his pre-clears. The message was that we had achieved 100% tech with these exact processes wherever they were exactly applied. And with one or more Class 8s in every org, we could achieve 100% results, which we are now doing. Now, this is what I haven't pointed out for some time. There are two branches to Scientology. One is Scientology, the philosophy. It is a religious philosophy, but it is a philosophy. And that is something you use to think with, to wonder with, to accept or reject. And the other is Scientology, the applied philosophy, and that is where it applies directly to processing. Now, there's a lot more to Scientology, of course, than processing. Philosophy means a love or pursuit of wisdom or a search for the underlying causes and principles of reality. And we certainly have that in the body of Scientology. A great number of principles and causes exist in Scientology. It is probably the largest written and spoken body of work of any philosophy ever undertaken. Out of this, many things can be made. And of it, we can say such things as, what is true for you is true for you in Scientology. This is a vast area of observations in the humanity. It is yours to think with, work with, accept or reject as you wish. It is still there. It is still valuable. No matter how old the book is, no matter how old the tape, it is still part of the body of Scientology known as philosophy. There is nothing authoritarian about it. It is yours to accept or not as you see fit. It is Scientology, the philosophy. Nothing has changed it. Now, there's this other thing called applied Scientology, or processing. Because it obtains a result and is valuable to you personally, processing could seem to be the whole of Scientology. Well, it isn't. Goodness, when you think of the number of policy letters we have on organization and these other things, and look at this new third-party law, that is actually something you think with, not something you process with. Now, Scientology processing today is made up only of those things which apply uniformly to all cases. Processing is made up of common denominators which apply to all life. There are no variables, no different cases, and this is a considerable achievement. It is a specialized form of Scientology and a specialized use. And these exact processes must be exactly done to produce an exact result. It is like making pie. If you don't use the same ingredients the same way in each case, why, you don't get pie. And we call this standard tech. And if an auditor is to see it, then you really have to get him to do it exactly that way a few times. And suddenly he does see it. And by doing it, why, he sees in the pre-clear that it is the right way to do it. And after that, he doesn't require any further persuasion. He has seen it. So it is true for him. I doubt you could make a Class 8 trained auditor do tech in any non-standard way. He has seen the fantastic precision of modern processes. He knows he can get results that way, and so he does it without any variation. He isn't doing it because I say so. He's doing it because it works, and he knows he can make real pie. Not to compare you to a pie, of course. Anyway, the whole of this is that we tend to lose sight of the fact that there have been many observations in Scientology. It is a very wide work, and it is not just a mental therapy, although it is probably the only mental therapy on the planet today, undoubtedly. Possibly some of you are worrying about what happened to OT7. And just to show you that research isn't dead in spite of all the traffic I have had to handle in '68, why, here's some news on it. On OT7 and OT8, I have very nearly completed OT8. They are not written up at this date. They will not be issued until we have the enemy under better control. That's bait, of course, to encourage you to give me even more of a hand in his demise. Seriously, though, OT7 is all complete, if not in its final form, and it has to do with life and relationship to life. Some people still working on OT3 are, in fact, really hitting against OT7. OT8 is the section that handles the physical universe, and there's a lot done on it, but I still work at it daily. Well, that about sums up the news on the battlefront, because make no mistake, we are at war. But one thing I do want to tell you here in Ronna's Journal 68 is, actually, I'm not mad at anybody. And it sort of goes against the grain to have to engage in some sort of warfare in which I have no personal interest. I finally figured it out that with all of these cases,